Hello, my name is Emrys. I have a company called Decadent Wellness, and if you're interested in seeing more of what we do, you can find us on Facebook or at decadent-wellness.com. And today I'm here through the Friends of Rathbun. The library has asked me to talk to you a little bit about mindfulness. And I wanted to start with a book that is readily available through the library right now. That is a novel. It's not specifically a mindfulness book, but a lot of people have been reading it and been finding it really helpful in these trying times. And the book is called The Midnight Library. It's by Matt Haig, and it's essentially about having chances to do things differently and how that helps us come to a greater appreciation of how things are now, which is really what mindfulness is about being in the now and appreciating things as they are, which is a lofty goal. So I want to be clear that mindfulness isn't something that we can expect ourselves to do 100% of the time. It's called a practice of mindfulness because we really are practicing. And if we look at it as something that we accomplish some of, as opposed to something that we either succeed at or fail at, we'll have a much more positive experience of it, and we'll have a greater likelihood that we'll continue attempting. So the first thing about mindfulness that I want to note is that we don't have to try to be thrilled with everything, right? Just because it's an opportunity to appreciate the present doesn't mean that we're always going to be happy with what we find. And it doesn't ask us to pretend that everything is okay. And I think that's particularly relevant in a time when, for many of us, things have felt less okay maybe than at any other time. And we're not asking for denial of that, but rather to see the positives within even these trying times, whether that's the feeling of the sun in the morning, a little bit earlier each day now, a little bit later each evening now, or the preciousness when we hear each other's voices or see each other virtually or from a distance, right? So sometimes the mindfulness practice is a savoring of things that we wouldn't have otherwise savored, which in some ways, of course, this time has really given us. So the quote that I'd like to read you from the book, The Midnight Library, is this: "Between life and death, there is a library, and within that library, the shelves go on forever. Every book provides a chance to try another life you could have lived, to see how things would be different if you had made other choices. Would you have done anything different if you had the chance to undo your regrets?" And here's an exercise that you might enjoy. Think of an experience you sometimes wish had gone differently. You might have one that comes to mind pretty easily. Now find at least one thing in your life now that is positive that somehow had its root in that experience. It might be that you met someone in that time or that situation. It might be that you found a quality within yourself, an ability to speak up or to exhibit resilience or strength of communication to navigate whatever was difficult. So you're thinking of this situation that you might not think of so fondly, and you're remembering something good that came from that situation. And again, we're not trying to ignore that that there was real difficulty, but we're recognizing that even within that difficulty, there was also something that you're grateful for now. And as you think of that thing that you're grateful for now, savor that feeling of like, oh yeah, I'm really glad that that person is in my life, or that I have this quality in myself, or whatever your example is. Now look at your current circumstances. And maybe you've already been doing this recently. Maybe you've noticed something that is good, even if this isn't a time in your life that you would characterize as a good time. For those of you for whom this is a good time in your life, this is also true, right? We might be feeling like, oh, in general, this time is good, but we can get more specific and really see what's one treasure. So wherever you are with the overall feeling, find your gift of now. And if you can't find your gift of now, then you get to have a treasure hunt where moving forward through the rest of your day, the rest of your week, you're looking for what is it for you that is a spark in your heart within this time. For some of us, it's bringing branches inside so that they start to flower, right? We're starting to be able to get flowering branches from florists, and soon we'll be able to force forsythia. For some of us, it might be more time with our pets. Whatever it is for you, I sometimes hesitate to give too many examples because your examples might be so different from mine. But as you go into that savoring of those positives, what you're doing is you're calling yourself back from thinking about the past, I wish things were different, from thinking about the future, I can't wait until things are different. And you're coming back to, here is something I'm glad is the way it is right now. And if you find this exercise helpful, you might incorporate it in throughout your day, or you might set aside a few minutes within each day at a time that is a nice fit for you, maybe lunchtime. Sometimes we do things in the morning or in the evening, and that can be great as well. But I like this sort of experience at lunchtime because if I haven't been doing it yet today, there's still time, right? So maybe you'll find a time within your day that you'll look and see what are the gifts of right now, of this day, of this moment, of this meal. And if you'd like to read that book that I mentioned, it's called The Midnight Library. It's by Matt Haig. It is available through the East Haddam Public Library and Rathman. And you can pick it up in person, or you can request that it be a curbside pickup so that you don't have to go into the building. And I welcome you to reach out if you'd like to talk a little bit more about your thoughts on the book, or your thoughts on mindfulness, or whether or not this exercise has been helpful for you. Thank you so much for your time and attention. Be well.